Ever wonder why some people get listened to the moment they open their mouth while you have to fight for every scrap of attention? Why some people's opinions carry weight while yours get dismissed or ignored? Why some people command rooms while you seem to disappear in them? The answer isn't what you want to hear. I am about to tell you 8 uncomfortable truths about why people don't respect you. These aren't going to feel good. They're going to make you defensive. They're going to make you want to click away and find something that makes you feel better about yourself. But if you can stomach them, they'll change everything. You share an idea, and it gets ignored. 5 minutes later, someone else says the same thing, and everyone loves it. You set a boundary, and people walk right through it. You express your needs, and they get dismissed as unimportant. You give your opinion, and people immediately look for someone else's take. You know what is actually happening? They've measured you. And you came up short, but here is what is going to shock you. The disrespect you are experiencing isn't random. It is not because people are mean or unfair. It is because you are sending signals you don't even know you are sending. Signals that tell everyone exactly how much respect you deserve. And right now, those signals are saying not much. What if I told you that respect isn't about who you are, but about what you demonstrate? That people aren't refusing to respect you. They're accurately reading the signals you are putting out. That the disrespect isn't their fault but your responsibility. That is uncomfortable. But it is also empowering because it means you can change it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what you are doing that invites disrespect. Why these behaviors trigger the responses they do on a deep psychological level. And most importantly, how to change each one starting immediately. Are you ready to hear what no one else will tell you? Drop this affirmation in the comments. I face the hard truths. Uncomfortable truth number 1. You talk too much about yourself. Here is the first truth that is going to sting. Nobody cares about you as much as you think they should, and the more you talk about yourself, the less they care. Every story about your weekend, every update about your problems, every humble brag about your accomplishments, you think you are connecting, you are actually repelling. When you talk constantly about yourself, you signal several things. First, that you don't think others are interesting enough to discuss. Second, that you are insecure and need external validation. Third, that you lack the social awareness to read the room. All of these signals scream, do not respect this person. Machiavelli observed, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. When you talk too much about yourself, everyone can see your need for attention, and that need is the opposite of respectable. The respected do the opposite. They ask questions about others. They listen more than they speak. They make others feel interesting and valued. Paradoxically, this makes them more interesting and valued. The person who doesn't need to talk about themselves is always more compelling than the person who can't stop. Here is the shift. Replace every story about yourself with a question about them. Replace every update about your life with genuine curiosity about theirs. Replace every bid for attention with focused attention on others. You'll feel like you are disappearing. You'll actually be becoming magnetic. There is a specific ratio the respected follow. For every sentence about themselves, they speak at least 3 about others, or the topic at hand. They treat their own experiences as supporting material, not the main event. When they do share about themselves, it is brief, relevant, and quickly redirected back to the broader conversation. Here is a test. After your next conversation, ask yourself what you learned about them versus what they learned about you. If the balance is heavily toward what they learned about you, you talked too much about yourself. Do this consistently, and you'll develop awareness of the pattern that has been costing you respect. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I listen more than I speak. Uncomfortable truth. Number 2. You apologize when you've done nothing wrong. Every time you say sorry for existing, sorry for having needs, sorry for taking up space, you teach people that your existence requires apology. and things that require apology don't deserve respect. Count your apologies for one day. Sorry for that email. Sorry to bother you. Sorry, can I just squeeze by? Sorry, I have a question. Sorry for existing in the same space as you at the same time. Each one is a tiny surrender, a micro-submission, a signal that says I don't belong here as much as you do. The respected don't apologize for having needs. They don't apologize for taking up space. They don't apologize for existing. They save their apologies for when they've genuinely wronged someone. This makes their apologies meaningful and their presence unapologetic. Here is the shift. Replace sorry with thank you. Instead of sorry for the delay, say thank you for your patience. Instead of sorry to bother you, say thank you for your time. Instead of sorry, can I ask? Just ask. The removal of unnecessary apologies will feel arrogant at first. It is actually just accurate self-valuation. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." The principle here is that people respond to strength signals, not submission signals. Your constant apologizing is the strongest possible submission signal. Eliminating it shows strength. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I stop apologizing for existing. Uncomfortable truth. Number 3. Your word means nothing. How many times have you said you'd do something and then didn't? How many plans have you canceled? How many promises have you broken? How many commitments have you abandoned? Every single one taught people that your word is worthless. And people with worthless words don't get respected. You think people forget. They don't. They're keeping score, usually unconsciously. Every time you say, I'll be there and you are not. Every time you say, I'll do it and you don't. Every time you say you can count on me and they can't. The score accumulates. And when the score is high enough, they stop taking you seriously entirely. The respected have one rule about their word. It is sacred. If they say they'll be there, they're there. If they say they'll do it, it gets done. If they make a commitment, it is kept. This consistency makes their word powerful when they speak. People listen because they've demonstrated that their speech predicts their actions. Here is the brutal truth. If you can't be reliable, be honest. Don't promise what you won't deliver. Don't commit to what you'll abandon. Say maybe instead of yes when you are not sure. Say let me check instead of I'll be there when you haven't checked. Protect the value of your word by using it sparingly and backing it consistently. Machiavelli advised, never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. But in personal relationships, the opposite applies. Never attempt to win by false promises what can be won by reliable action. Your unreliability is a form of deception that destroys respect. Here is a practice that will transform your reliability. Before making any commitment, pause and ask yourself, can I actually do this? If there is any doubt, don't commit. It is better to under-promise than to over-promise and under-deliver. The person who says maybe and shows up is infinitely more respected than the person who says definitely and disappears. Start tracking your commitments. Write down everything you say you'll do. Then track whether you did it. Seeing your own pattern in black and white removes the comfortable delusion that you are more reliable than you are. This data becomes motivation to change. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My word is my bond. Uncomfortable truth. Number 4. You let people treat you badly. Every time someone disrespects you and you do nothing, you've taught them that disrespecting you is free. No cost, no consequence, no pushback. Just a green light to do it again whenever they feel like it. You think you are keeping the peace. You think you are being the bigger person. You think you are avoiding unnecessary conflict. What you are actually doing is advertising that you are safe to disrespect, that you'll absorb whatever treatment people give you. That standing up for yourself isn't something you do. Watch how the respected handle disrespect. They don't let it slide. They don't laugh it off. They don't pretend it didn't happen. They address it immediately, clearly. and without excessive emotion. That is not okay with me. Don't speak to me that way. We're done with this conversation. Then they follow through with action. The consequence doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it is simply ending the interaction. Sometimes it is reducing future access to you. Sometimes it is just the clear statement that draws a line. What matters is that there is a consequence, that disrespecting you costs something that you are not free to walk on. Machiavelli wrote, "Men must either be caressed or annihilated. They will revenge themselves for small injuries, but cannot do so for great ones." The principle for respect is that small disrespects must have immediate responses, or they grow into large disrespects. Nip it immediately, or watch it multiply. Here is the shift. The next time someone disrespects you, pause, feel the discomfort of confrontation, then address it anyway. One sentence is enough. "That wasn't appropriate." You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to escalate. You just have to not let it pass unmarked. The simple acknowledgement that you noticed and didn't accept it changes everything. They realize you are paying attention. They realize there is a cost. They recalibrate. Practice on small disrespects first. The slightly dismissive comment, the minor boundary crossing, the subtle disrespect that is easy to pretend you didn't notice. These are your training ground. If you can address the small ones, you'll have the muscle for the big ones when they come. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I never tolerate disrespect. Uncomfortable truth. Number 5. You are inconsistent in who you are. Different personalities for different people. Different opinions depending on who is in the room. Different values depending on what is convenient. This chameleon act isn't making you likable. It is making you invisible, because people can't respect someone who doesn't exist consistently. When you shape-shift to match every room, you signal that you have no actual core, no real opinions, no genuine values, just a desperate need to fit in wherever you are. And people don't respect empty vessels. They use them, they forget them, they walk right through them. The respected are the same person everywhere. Their opinions don't change based on audience. Their values don't shift based on convenience. Their personality doesn't morph to match the room. This consistency makes them solid, real, trustworthy. You know what you are getting, and that predictability creates respect. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." When you are inconsistent, everyone sees different appearances, and nobody experiences anything real. When you are consistent, your appearance and reality align, and people can finally encounter who you actually are. Here is the shift. Decide who you actually are, what you actually believe, what you actually value. Then be that person everywhere, even when it is uncomfortable, even when some people won't like it. The ones who don't like the real you were never going to respect the fake versions anyway. This requires knowing yourself, which most people avoid. Spend time alone asking, what do I actually think about this? Not what should I think? Not what do others think? What do I, without external influence, actually believe? This clarity becomes the foundation of consistency. The fear behind inconsistency is that the real you won't be accepted. But the truth is that the fake versions aren't being accepted either. They're being tolerated. Only the real you can be genuinely respected. The chameleon act might keep you safe, but it keeps you invisible and disrespected. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am the same person everywhere. Uncomfortable truth. Number 6. You give too much too fast. You share your secrets before trust is earned. You offer your help before it is valued. You commit fully before they've shown they deserve it. This generosity isn't making you valued. It is making you cheap. What is freely given is rarely appreciated. When you give everything up front, there is nothing to earn, no relationship to build, no trust to develop, no value to accumulate over time. You've shortcut the process that creates depth and replaced it with a flood that creates overwhelm. People don't respect what overwhelms them. They retreat from it. The respected are selective with what they give and when. They share vulnerability after trust is established. Not before. They offer help after they've seen appreciation for smaller things. They commit fully after the other party has demonstrated worthiness. This selectivity creates value. Scarcity creates respect. Think about what you've given away freely. Your time, your energy, your secrets, your labor, your loyalty. How much of it was reciprocated? How much of it was even appreciated? Now think about the people who make you earn their investment. How much more do you value what they finally give? Here is the shift. Slow everything down. Let relationships develop over time rather than forcing false intimacy. Match the other person's investment level rather than exceeding it. Create space for others to earn deeper access to you. Your selectivity isn't coldness. It is accurate valuation of what you have to offer. Think of yourself as a book that should be read chapter by chapter, not skimmed all at once. The person who reads you properly appreciates each chapter. The person who gets the whole book dumped on them is overwhelmed and rarely finishes. Control the pacing of what you reveal. The same applies to help and favors. Start small. See if appreciation returns before offering more. Build the reciprocity muscle in the relationship before committing major resources. Those who appreciate small things have proven themselves worthy of bigger investments. Those who don't appreciate small things have revealed they're not worth more. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I make them earn my investment. Uncomfortable truth. Number 7. You explain and justify constantly. Every decision comes with a paragraph of explanation. Every action comes with a defense. Every choice comes with a justification of why it was reasonable. You think you are being transparent. You are actually being weak. The need to justify signals that you don't trust your own judgment. When you explain everything, you invite debate on everything. When you justify constantly, you signal that your choices require external approval. When you defend every decision, you show that your decisions feel indefensible to you. All of this communicates insecurity, and insecurity repels respect. The respected make decisions and let them stand. I am not going to make it. No explanation required. I've decided to go this direction. No justification needed. I don't want to. Enough said. This brevity isn't rude. It is confident. It says I trust my own judgment and don't need your approval. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool explains and justifies and eventually either gives up or gets steamrolled. The wise person states once and moves on, forcing others to either accept or make their objection explicit. Here is the shift practice statement without explanation. Make your choice, communicate it briefly, and stop talking. No because, no reasoning, no defense unless specifically asked. Let the discomfort of silence exist. Let others adjust to your decision instead of you adjusting to their potential objections. When you feel the urge to justify, recognize it as insecurity speaking. The urge to explain is the fear that your decision won't be accepted without supporting arguments. But decisions that need paragraphs of defense are decisions you are not confident in. If you are confident, one sentence is enough. There is an exception. When asked directly for your reasoning, you can explain. But even then, be concise. Make your point and stop. Don't ramble into multiple reasons when one strong one will do. The respected explain when asked, and only as much as asked, never more. The freedom on the other side of this habit is remarkable. When you stop justifying everything, you stop experiencing everything as requiring justification. Your decisions become lighter. Your communication becomes cleaner. Your presence becomes stronger. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I don't justify my choices. Uncomfortable truth. Number 8. You don't respect yourself. This is the hardest truth and the source of all the others. You don't respect yourself. And people are simply giving you externally what you are already giving yourself internally. The world is a mirror. If you don't respect you, why would anyone else? Self-disrespect shows up everywhere. In how you talk to yourself, in how you let your own standards slide, in how you break promises to yourself while keeping them to others, in how you sacrifice your needs for people who wouldn't do the same, in how you accept treatment you'd never accept for someone you love. Every time you talk badly to yourself in your own head, every time you don't follow through on what you promised yourself, every time you put yourself last, every time you accept less than you demand for a friend, you are teaching yourself that you don't matter, and that internal lesson radiates outward. The respected treat themselves as someone worthy of respect. They keep promises to themselves like sacred commitments. They speak to themselves with the same respect they'd show someone they admire. They protect their own boundaries as fiercely as they protect a loved one's. Their self-respect becomes the template for how others treat them. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." The same applies to self. It is not external respect that makes you worthy. It is honoring yourself that makes external respect possible. The inner creates the outer, always. Here is the shift. Treat yourself as you treat someone you are responsible for caring for. Keep your promises to yourself. Speak to yourself with respect. Protect your boundaries, standards, and well-being. When you become someone you respect, you'll find the world follows your lead. Start with one promise to yourself that you've been breaking. Maybe it is exercise. Maybe it is sleep. Maybe it is creative work. Whatever it is, make it sacred. Keep it regardless of circumstance. Let it be the foundation of a new relationship with yourself, one built on trust rather than betrayal. Change the voice in your head. When you catch yourself speaking to yourself with contempt, ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, don't say it to yourself. You are the only person you'll spend every moment with for your entire life. That relationship deserves respect. The external world is a projection of the internal world. When you treat yourself with respect, you set the standard others follow. When you violate your own boundaries, you teach others that your boundaries are negotiable. The transformation starts within. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I respect myself first. If you've made it through all 8 truths, you've done something most people can't do. You've faced uncomfortable realities about yourself. You've resisted the urge to defend and deflect. You've stayed open to feedback that hurts because it is true. Let's review what you now know. You talk too much about yourself. You apologize when you've done nothing wrong. Your word means nothing. You let people treat you badly. You are inconsistent in who you are. You give too much too fast. You explain and justify constantly. You don't respect yourself. Each of these truths has a corresponding shift. Listen more than you speak. Stop apologizing for existing. Make your words sacred. Address disrespect immediately. Be the same person everywhere. Let others earn your investment. State without justifying, respect yourself first. You don't have to fix all 8 at once. Pick the one that hit hardest. That is your starting point. Work on it until it is automatic. Then move to the next. Within months, you'll be unrecognizable. Within a year, you'll wonder why you ever accepted being disrespected. If this video showed you why you haven't been getting the respect you wanted, smash that like button. If you know someone who needs to hear these uncomfortable truths, share this with them. And if you want more content that tells you what others won't, subscribe and hit that notification bell. The disrespect you've been experiencing wasn't random. It was feedback, your environment telling you that something needed to change. Now you know what that something is. 8 somethings, actually. The only question is whether you'll do the uncomfortable work of changing them. Machiavelli wrote, "There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success, than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. The new order here is you, transformed. It is difficult. It is uncertain, but it is possible." And it starts with accepting these uncomfortable truths. Now drop this final affirmation in the comments. I face the truth and change. Because in a world where most people protect their egos from uncomfortable feedback, the person who faces the truth and transforms holds all the power. Be that person, accept the uncomfortable, and watch how everything changes when you finally become someone the world respects.